Welcome back guys, episode 8 of the beginner series. So today we have March overview and highlights. I'll be going over the units again in March, and also I'll be touching on FFXIII 8 because we'll be getting that this month as well. So starting off, Awakening Wave with Yuri and Onion Knight. So Yuri is a range and magic hybrid unit. He has passive HP regen, he has Brave regen for the party now. He has decent attack aura at 40%, he also has party overflow at 20%. And you can even loop his EX ability, which puts Chilink on the field for 3 turns. After you use the EX, she stays on the field for 3 turns, but after 3 abilities, you can recharge your EX. So you'll lose the buff for 1 round and then you'll get it back. So Yuri should have it up pretty much all the time. His skill 1 is an AoE attack. It does 150% overflow and split damage. Skill 2 is a 5-hit single target attack. It has 150% overflow as well. And his EX is either 120 or 150% overflow depending on your ingots, but it has 100% AoE damage. So I recommend 1 ingot for Yuri at the minimum, because if you look at 2 out of 3, he starts with his buffs active, like the Rayla buff, and 3 out of 3 you get some potency increase, and you also get 30% more overflow, but that's about it. 1 ingot is where you get a lot of stats. For the rating, I actually recommend Yuri at middle priority. For this I was pretty hesitant because Yuri was pretty meta in JP, he was ranked really highly. So I rank him highly for newer players. He does decent damage, he's easy to use, and he has great party utility. But more for veterans, I think he's more middle, he's not very necessary because he doesn't excel that much in the damage department, even though he is a great pick for Entropy tier 8. So Yuri's not going to be a bad choice at all. I just don't think he's quite as meta as people would expect. Okay, moving on, we have Onion Knight. Onion Knight is a magic and melee mixed damage dealer. He has a 40% attack aura while he's in either stance at max 3 stacks. His EX in Sage mode is 120% overflow magic attack that has 100% splash damage. And then his EX while in ninja stance is 2 instances of Brave plus HP attacks. They each have 6 hits and it can overflow up to 180%. Both EX abilities grant a buff that grants the party 20% overflow, which is pretty good, and it also imperils Ice Element on all enemies for 4 turns. Now this is useful because his AA is actually an Ice enchant for the party. His additional ability, the Crystal 65, lasts for 5 turns and you have 2 uses of it, so that can turn into 10 turns. It's going to be very useful for FFXIII 8 because the wave 2 there was just all weapon types. So you will have to either kill him fast with summon or use enchant and peril team to get by that. The other thing to note is that his EX cast is pretty fast, so it will recharge after 1 ability use and either 1 HP plus or 1 Brave plus ability. I recommend him at 3 ingots because that's where he gets his new HP plus. And then for a rating, I will give him middle priority because his damage is kind of limited. He has low overflow levels in his kit on the skill 1, and Meteorite is kind of low overflow as well, so that's where I rank him. Now moving on, we have Lulu. So Lulu's a fire mage that can imperil and enchant allies with the fire element. She has a 40% max brave aura and a 60% eye brave regen aura for the party, but she has no attack aura in her base kit. Her EX is now a 5-hit instance of brave plus HP attack with split damage. It's a group attack. It has super low potency at 450% and a slow recharge rate. She has no rework, which holds her back, and mediocre HP plus that doesn't overflow is the big hit to her kit. So she's recommended at 0 or 1 ingot potentially for the stats. At 2 to 3 ingots, you start with 2 stacks of Doll Master, and 3 out of 3 is just more potency and some overflow in the EX, which she likely won't cap out anyway. So the rating for Lulu, I recommend her at low priority because she has mediocre damage and she is a great option for Entropy tier 8 for those who are lacking the options there. Okay, moving on, we have Chet. So Chet is a melee damage dealer. He has fire element in his skill 2. His EX is actually a non-elemental melee attack, even though it shoots 2 meteors at the enemies now. For ingot recommendations, I recommend 3 out of 3 because that's where he gets the double meteor attack. And there's not much to say with Jet. He doesn't get a rework. He just gets more stats, he is harder with the EX+. For rating, I give him a low priority because he has no party utility or special roles. He just does damage and that's it. Okay, we have Kamlanaut is the next unit. He's a new unit. Basically, he's an ice melee unit that has a small party attack and max brave aura. He can paralyze enemies, and he can lower their attack and max brave via debuffs. So he has a stack and condition based character, which means he's going to be fluctuating a lot in battle. He can paralyze enemies at a fairly high chance, that's 60% with the weapon passive, and this can reach 100% under the right conditions. However, it's only single target and it's not AoE like Agrius. For rating, I give him a low priority because he has low damage output and it's kind of clunky after I looked into it. Now onto Shanotto. Shanotto is a wind and dark mage. She can power all elements now with the EX+. EX+ becomes AoE every time she's enraged, and it also does a base 50% splash damage. At 2 out of 3 ingots, her rage mode is now extended by 6 turns via both the Brave Plus and HP Plus abilities. It's very nice. And 3 out of 3 ingots is recommended to increase her hit count to 5, and then the splash damage is increased to 100% as well while she's enraged here, so that's the rating I give her. As far as priority, I give her a low priority. Not many units can take advantage of her Imperil because she has no party enchant, she only imperils her own elements. She imperils all elements though, but units will either need to have their own ability elementals, or many others already imperil their own element, like Gobez, Lightning in the future, Sabin, so she's not really necessary. Next up we have Penelo. Penelo is a great support unit. She gives many buffs to the party. She has auras as well. Her EX is on a fast recast speed. It ignores defense of the enemies that parries your party and can dish out some big numbers. Penelo's drawback is that she guarantees generic 4 buffs to the party, which can take up buff slots. However, she also provides an attack aura or more brave and eye brave regen depending on the stance that she's in. As far as ingots, I recommend 2 at least, because this is where she gets a big stat increase. It's 80% attack and max brave, which is large. At 3 out of 3 ingots, the EX damage is increased even further, and she also heals the party by 20% of their max HP. So this could be a great utility use. As far as rating, she is high priority. Knows everything that you would want in a support. She does battery, she has auras, HP and brave regen, attack max brave aura, and she has great damage output. So she's a high priority for sure. Next up we have Edge. So Edge is now a thunder magic utility unit. He can grant the party full evasion. So party evasion comes from the self EX buff that lasts for 2 turns after you use the EX. And this can be extended by buff extenders like Yuna or Eiko. He also has the 40% attack aura in this kit, and he has a 30% max brave aura. EX ability recovers 1 use of skill 1, so it helps him with longevity. But it is on a slow recast speed, and Edge doesn't have much base ability count use to begin with, so he's going to be struggling with longevity a lot. As far as rating, I give him a middle priority rating because he has great utility. Full evasion is very powerful and unique, but it can be countered in the future by true strike attacks. We already have true strike attacks in the game. Plane Scourger can do that with the air drive attack. Yeah, don't rely on the evasion. Okay, next up we have Lann and Reynn. So Lann and Reynn are elemental AoE magic damage dealers. They can empower their own elements now with their EX+. Drawback to their kit, they still don't have overflow on anything except for their new HP Plus and EX Plus ability, which has minimum overflow. They are great farmers, however, and they have very fast HP Plus animation. They have decent potency with 50% splash damage, so it can help get through story chapters and lost chapters pretty quickly. In-game recommendation, I recommend 3 out of 3. That's where they get maximum overflow in the EX ability. It goes up to 150%. As far as rating, I give them low priority because they don't bring any party utility, and they're limited to multi-enemy encounters. Anytime you face one boss at a time, they're not going to be a good choice at all. Alright, next up we have Edgar. So Edgar is the melee damage dealer. He can debuff enemies, that's his specialty. He also has a bonus when he's fighting machine type targets. Edgar can easily inflict debuffs to all enemies now, and he can increase the brave damage taken with his unique frame debuff. In-game recommendation, I gave him 3 out of 3 because he needs this for the new HP Plus and to have his EX upgraded, which now does 3 instances of brave and HP attacks. As far as rating goes, he falls on a low priority because he has little utility, and his debuffs are kind of low potency as well. Okay, next up we have Kieran, the new unit. So to categorize Kieran, he's a melee unit that boosts party stats with an aura. He also has an holy element with his skill 2, whereas the other skills are all melee attacks. He's a stack-based character that gains and loses stacks based on abilities. His performance can be fluctuating quite a bit in battle. At maximum stacks, he can provide stronger stats than Lily Set, for example. The only drawback would be that the party stats are tied to the current level of stacks and his abilities, which means that when you lose stacks, your party aura is going to be giving you less stats for your party, which is not very good. So as far as rating goes, low priority for me, because he has low damage output and not enough support abilities. He has no party healing, he has no party battery, so he's kind of like a damage dealer that has party aura. That's about it. Okay, the last unit is Leo. Leo is a magic utility unit. He can launch enemies, he makes enemies easier to launch. He had a 40% attack and max brave aura with his base EX buff. Skill 1, the field burst, is now AoE, and it also has more hits and an added HP attack. Skill 2, energy gain, it jumps from 1 hit to 4 hits and has overflow up to 150%. As far as ingot recommendation, I actually recommend 1 ingot minimal for Leo because this gives him the new HP plus and it boosts the attack stat for him. He could be viable here if you just use him as a launcher to boost scores, pair him up with Y'shtola, and you'll be good to go. 2 out of 3, you start with generic buffs, and 3 out of 3, increased potency as well as overflow by a large amount, 70%. And it increases the brave hits of the ability, so Leo at 3 out of 3 wouldn't be a bad choice. So as far as rating goes, he's middle priority. Remember that Leo has 1 turn delay in his kit. He also has decent party aura and he boosts the chase damage of the entire party. Launches do increase score by a great deal, so he has utility in that regard. Now as far as Entropy tier 8 goes, this wave resists range on every single wave. So Yuri's kit is half range as well, skill 1 is range, but once he imperils with the EX, he can bypass that with the Holy Enchant. Wave 2 with the double behemoths, enchant or imperil your way through this. So Lulu, Onion Knight, or Yuri would be great picks. None of them need ingots to actually do their job, so you can get through with just, base kit or 0 out of 3 if you wanted to. You can also get by being hyper aggressive. I've seen a Reynn and Ultimecia team do this. You could even summon on that wave too to bypass, not give them any turns. So that's how you could get through Entropy tier 8. So that's gonna be it for episode 8, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know who you're gonna build down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.